Welcome, everyone, to a Mystery Grand Prix here at ExA Racing League. It is the X3 division tonight, and we don't know what track is ahead of us until we get into the lobby. The admins have spun the wheel, which has decided which track we're going to be using, but once we get into the lobby and I change the screen, we will find out which circuit we will be driving at tonight. This definitely makes things very interesting for the drivers. They're not going to have the optimal setups. They're not going to have all the practice that they would have wanted going ahead this week. So it's going to be a true test of talent. Of course, ahead of us is 18 minutes of qualifying, and I don't know how many laps of racing because I don't know the track, and I don't know how many laps we've got. But we're about to get into the lobby in a few seconds, and I can show you what track we're driving at tonight. Here we are then, the black screen. And which track are we at? It looks like we are in Abu Dhabi, ladies and gentlemen. So, ordinarily, the track that would be at the end of the season, we are having in the 4th race of the season. So the drivers are going to be eyeballing their setups and their fuel loads. Well, mainly their setups. And then it is going to be underway with qualifying. So I wasn't there for last week's race, unfortunately. So I'm not sure what happened last week, but I do know that Japan the week before was a very, very intense race, a very interesting race. So we're hopefully going to have the same replication with the drivers a little less prepared. Also, something to note. Both Haas drivers have a race ban, so we're not going to see any Haas drivers on the grid today, and which means we've only got 18 drivers today, as we're starting to see a couple of drivers head out of the pits onto the Yas Marina circuit. So let's get our telemetries up and our track map. Of course, 2 DRS zones here at Yas Marina. Down the 2 long back straights. Well, the long back straight and the long isn't back straight. We've got we've got a bunch of drivers leaving the pits. The very unique pit lane it is. And someone has been disqualified for blocking said unique pit lane. So there goes one driver completely out. In the Alfa Romeo for blocking the pit lane. So an interesting start to qualifying already. The first person starting a flying lap is going to be Daniel in the Williams. As he heads round the final corner now. Let's ride on board. As he heads down the main straight across the line to start his first flying lap into turn 1, a 90-degree left-hander. There's a lot of track and a lot of curb to be able to be maximized here on this track. Round turn 2 and 3, heading downhill towards the first heavy braking zone of the lap. And gets it turned in nicely. A little bit deep, I think, but now DRS coming up. Open the rear wing, flat out towards the chicane, where famously we've had some pretty decent battles coming into this chicane. But here he goes, braking just before the 100-meter board. Get it turned in nicely. A little bit of a wiggle there on the steering wheel, you can see. And then heading out towards the second DRS zone of the lap. DRS wide open. Glide across the track towards the hairpin, the fast hairpin there is at the end of this DRS zone. Gets around that nicely. And this is going to be the banker lap for everyone to beat. With 15 minutes left of qualifying, here we go into the slower and more technical Sector 3. Under the bridge now. The cars always sound absolutely lovely going under the bridge. 2 more corners to go. Final corner. Using all of the track there. And the first time on the board is a 1:22.3. But next up is the 2 Red Bulls of JNR. And his teammate as they're heading around the final few corners. So let's watch JNR first, see where he crosses the line. He's got 2 corners left. Here we go then. Final corner. Just past the pit entry. Look at that. Maximizing the track limits as we see his teammate right behind him. So that is... JNR is actually third fastest behind his teammate Pinetic. So both Red Bulls putting down a time. Quite a bit of a gap between them. A whole second between them. So not the strongest laps from either of the Red Bulls as Daniel still stands tall at the top of the tables. But we've got a few more cars on a flying lap. For example, Nick in the Ferrari. And he lifted there. Not sure why he lifted in that second corner. Maybe he's having some throttle problems. And that is his lap done. Even though he had the fastest Sector 1. This is looking like very strange. He's on a hot lap, but the telemetry is... he's lifting, he's braking. Very strange. Thought he was on a hot lap there, but apparently not, as we've had two more drivers cross the line. Spartans in the Alfa Romeo brings himself up to second with a 122.9. And Sen in the Aston Martin. Slowest of the times so far, 124.4. Let's have a look if we can spot any other drivers. ExA rolling, leaving the pits. He is our league owner, of course. Likes to sub in on any race that he can. But here is James in the Mercedes. Heading round into Sector 3. Towards the bridge. He passes underneath it. Careful not to get track limits on the exit. Very easy to do so. Flat around the second to last corner. Braking for the final corner. Get it turned in. Get on the power early. And across the line, it's third fastest with a 123.1. So we've done 5 minutes of this session, and we've got 7 drivers who have currently set lap times. However, let's have a look at Mr. Bean and see what he can do. He's not on a flying lap. Thought he was. He is not on a flying lap, it looks like. No ERS being used, although he does have the rear wing open, so maybe he hasn't realized he's not using that all-important electrical system. Let's see. Toby also going down the main straight here, or the back straight, sorry, towards the chicane. His teammate currently posted up in second. He's going to want to beat that and get pole position. The time to beat so far, 122.3. The first lap of the session, and still yet to be beaten, as Toby heading down the main, that isn't straight towards the hairpin. Getting the car turned in nicely and maximizing this very, very wide corner. And here we go into Sector 3, the slowest sector. The narrowest sector. And up towards the final 2 corners now. Flat right-hander into braking. Goes maybe a tad deep, but it's looking like a decent lap. And it is a decent lap. And he's beaten his teammate and is only 1/10 off pole position with in his first run of Q3. And that was a fastest Sector 3 as well, by the way. Just to point out. So let's have a look at... who can we have a look at? Chaz in the Mercedes. Finishing up his lap with 2 corners to go. Let's see how this is going to end. So he rounds the final corner now on the power, nice and early. And that is 4th fastest for Charlie. 122.978. So we're going to start to see some people head into the pits. Very busy track at the moment, with nearly all of the drivers out on track. Lots of drivers haven't set a lap time yet. That includes the ExA Rolly, who's getting a bit of traffic there going down the, going towards the first braking zone. You basically had to slip in between 2 cars, but now with the DRS open, going down the back straight. And let's spot his braking zone. It's late. It's good. He's getting the car turned in. Slowest corners on the track. Looks like a little bit of lag there. But now onto the isn't straight towards the hairpin. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him. Hopefully they're going to get out of the way as he sets a 17.5 in the first sector. And a faster sector too. So he's looking absolutely flying as he rounds the hairpin. That's a big slide, but it's a good lap so far. So we might as well finish it as he almost bottled it coming out of the hairpin, the very wide hairpin. Looking very cautious through these final corners. Ferrari gets out of his way. Final corner now. Get it turned in on the power and across the line for 8th place. That could have been a very good lap if you didn't have that slide. Going into Sector 3 around the final hairpin. So let's see. We've got 16 drivers with a lap time. 2 drivers who are not participating in this quali. And Pool Diver, who's on an outlap in 18th. Let's see if we can spot any other drivers on a flying lap. JNR has been bumped all the way down to 12th. With his teammate in 9th place. So, with our first runs done, and with 8 minutes left for quali, Daniel is the fastest lap so far, 122.3, yet to be beaten. First lap done, and first man out on the track, and is sitting comfortably at the top of the leaderboard. Alex had a very close race, very good second place in Japan a few weeks back. Almost got the win, and they were very, very close to getting the win in Japan after a very controversial race with quite a few safety cars and a couple of incidents. Currently sitting down in 11th. Qualifying hasn't been their best for them. Essentially all season long, really. They bumped down to 12th by Hey Tony. So, Alexis is a sheep. My apologies. I thought it was Alex is beast. Alexis. I will remember that from now. My apologies. Alexis' teammate, currently down in 16th. Slowest of the drivers so far. 124.6. But let's see. That was a very wide on that final corner. Let's see if they can improve. They've improved. 0.2 behind their teammate. So that is most of our runs. Most people currently in the pits right now. Someone who isn't in the pits right now is Hey Tony, sitting in 11th. His teammate Charlie, currently up in 6th on an outlap. Rounding the hairpin. And into the final few corners here. Let's see if we can have a look at the sector times of Tony. An 18.7 in the first sector, so not very strong. In fact, not a very strong first 2 sectors as we see JNR retire. Yep, and that is very nearly not the pit lane from Hey Tony. Charlie in the Alpine is the only girl racing the league in the racing league. Also, rumor has it that our league owner and the person we worship, ExA Rolly in the AlphaTauri, his brake pedal is stuck again. Clearly needs to unscrew that, give it a bit of a clean maybe. So that's why we saw some weird telemetry stuff going on maybe on the back straight. So Fresh, currently sitting in 11th in the Ferrari, is they won in Spa 3 weeks back. It was a very strange race for Spa. In fact, I'd like to say that all of the races this season in X1 and X3 that I've commentated have been incredibly close. On the last lap, the winner has been decided. And most of the time on the final corner. So we've had some very strong racing so far this season. And I hope we can continue that theme today on the Mystery Grand Prix. So Daniel Jack's time in the Williams is still unbeaten. But most drivers are going to be setting out for their second or third run. In fact, can we see how many laps people have done? Oh, no. Fastest lap leader, none, no, new. So we've got two drivers out on the track right now. Sen and Fresh. Aston Martin and Ferrari. Sen's actually on a flying lap. No, they're not. They were just driving quickly into the pits. Now we're starting to see the drivers leave the pits. Here we go. Down through the tunnel. Where we've had one driver disqualified for blocking said tunnel. So, how long of quali have we got left? My guess is, well, it showed us 3 minutes of quali left. And the Williams time is still to be unbeaten. Very strong first lap. And it's looking like it's going, well, people need to beat it. It's surely going to get beaten this run because track is getting grippier, of course. New tyres, new softs are going to be put on. Everyone's getting a feel for their cars and the track. And we're starting to see a couple more drivers leave the pits as we're looking at ExA Rowley with some hardware difficulties head down towards the first heavy braking zone. Let's see what he can do. Braking just at 50 meters, get the car turned in. Fastest sector 1 so far. 17.3. And down the back straight, DRS wide open towards the chicane. Use all the track. Right out of the chicane. A little bit of a wobble there. Too trigger happy with the accelerator. But now down the second DRS zone that isn't straight. Has a slight curve. Straight into a hairpin. Get it turned in. Very deep inside the corner there. But doesn't have that wiggle like we saw him do on his previous flying lap. And into the next sector he goes. We're halfway through sector 3. Oh, that's almost track limits there. Going under the bridge. That looks like some lag as well. So we've got some interesting issues here with spectating ExA Rowley. But as he crosses the line, that's a slide exiting the line. 9th place. With 50 seconds to go, all of these drivers who are on an outlap really need to get racing to the line. Quali has seemed a lot shorter. Not many people have had a lot of runs. Look at that. People are just like overtaking people on their outlaps. We've only got about 20 seconds left in qualifying to get 30 seconds left to get these flying laps done. So it's going to be very close across the line for these people who are sort of just entering sector 3. And let's watch as Pool Diver crosses the line to start his first flying lap. Well, second flying lap, should I say. Currently sitting in 6th with a 1 at 22.9. Mr. Bean moves himself up into 4th. But now we're looking at Pool Diver heading towards the first braking zone and towards the first DRS zone of the back straight. There we go. DRS wide open. So we've got two people who have finished their laps. And I believe we're about to see, if I'm looking on the minimap correctly, we're about to see, yep, Hey Tony. Best he can do is 5th place. But now Pool Diver heading down the isn't straight towards the hairpin. DRS wide open. Widest part of the track this is. So much track to play with. But where is the grip? It looks like he's found it. And that's a very good line there. Out the hairpin. Sector 3. Lots of 90 lefts and 90 rights. Can be frustrating to drive this final part of the track, but he's got 2 corners to go. Flat right-hander into the heavy braking zone of the final corner and across the line. It's second position. It's a Williams 1-2 so far, but who can beat it? The question is, who can beat it? Not Mr. Bean. Gets track limits. Who can beat it? Toby in the Alfa Romeo sets the fastest lap. 122.272. So let's see who else hasn't finished. Mr. Bean invalidated and crossed the line. Spartans, Toby's teammate, was in first gear. Yeah, they're not going to be setting any more laps. Let's see. Chaz crosses the line, finishes 4th. So Toby has broken the the Williams 1-2. So Toby on pole position. Then it's 2 Williams for this mystery race, and then Chaz down in 4th in the Mercedes. It's a very interesting qualifying session today. So let's run it through. It's Alfa Romeo, double Williams, Mercedes, Alpine, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Ferrari, McLaren, Alpine take up the top 10. So very close, 300ths of a or 400ths of a second between pole position and second place. And let's have a look at some previous race winners. Fresh down in 8th. Alex in the McLaren down in 16th. Not a strong qualifying for them, but throughout the season I've not seen much amazing qualifying from them, but their race pace has been decent. Let's see then. We're going into the race here, a half distance race, of course. And the drivers with not as much practice as most racers in this league, because they obviously didn't know what track it was. And I'm looking. It looks like we've got a day race here in Abu Dhabi. It's not under the lights as usual. It's looking like it's around about sunset for the race. So the drivers just tweaking their strategies and what they can from the car because, of course, Parc Fermé. And here we go then. We've got the lights, but we're not starting from our usual position. There we go. Very long time for the lights to be on, but finally they go out, and Toby gets away poorly, and it looks like Daniel is going to be right on his tail. Into turn 1 they go, side by side. Who's going to get ahead towards the first corner? There's a little bit of contact there as Toby is getting squeezed as they head round turn 2 and 3. Still side by side. And it's going to be who's going to come ahead in this braking zone. They're still wheel to wheel. Toby gets ahead towards the braking zone and lets Chavs slide through the inside, but now Daniel is right ahead of both of them. And that is a very, very intense start to this race. First few corners, but now Chaz, he's got the run on Toby. He's got so much straight line speed. Look at him go. He's going to have a go at Daniel into the chicane. No, oh, there's contact. He's braked too late. And there's such a scrap going on here. He goes off the track. And let's have a look at the tyres while we can. As everyone scrapping towards the hairpin. Are we going to see any more side-by-side action? We've got Toby dropping down places even more. Charlie trying to go around the outside of them toward after the hairpin. And Toby's got the inside line, but it's not going to stick here as we head round the bridge. Toby just getting battled. He's on the hard tyres, and they're clearly not working for him in this race start. And that's contact there. That is it Toby? Toby has gone off there, spinning backwards in Sector 3. As we round the first lap, Daniel in the lead in the Williams, followed by Chaz on the hard tyres in the Mercedes, and then it's Charlie in the Alpine. Make up your top 3 with Daniel's teammate in the Williams, Bull Diver in P4. So those soft tires working a treat so far for Daniel. He's already built up a 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 second gap on the person behind him, which is Chaz on the hard tires. And then everyone else is on a mixture of medium and hard tires for this race. So let's have a look down for the battle for P2 and P3. Charlie close behind the Mercedes of Chaz as they head onto the isn't back straight out of the chicane. We've got lots of action going on side by side. Hey, Tony and Sen and James, all three of them battling towards the hairpin. Let's see who comes out in front here. It looks like James just got ahead just before the hairpin and managed to secure that position. But let's bring ourselves back up to the front of the pack. Charlie, 0.2 seconds away from Chaz. And Daniel has created a massive gap of 2 seconds already, and he can control the pace of this race now on those soft tires. He can really save them, but it is probably going to be a two-stop, as you can see on your screen. Possible race strategies, potentially a two-stopper. But now DRS is enabled this lap, which means if you're within a second of the car in front, you can get yourself that rear wing wide open to give you an overtaking aid. Just looking at the chat, thank you very much for the Prime sub to the EXA Racing League channel. We very much appreciate it here, supporting the league as much as possible. But the racing, Charlie has DRS on Chaz. It's the Charlie versus Charlies. Here we are. It's Mercedes versus Alpine, and that Mercedes looks like they have so much straight line. It also looks like Charlie didn't have their rear wing all the way up till the braking zone, so maybe they're just saving it for this second DRS zone here. Overtake enabled. DRS enabled. Are they going to look to go round the outside at the hairpin? They're side by side. Who's going to brake last? It looked like Charlie did, and they've swooped themselves round the outside, but it's not over yet, as Chaz is just behind them. And if Charlie makes any kind of mistake, Chaz is going to be able to capitalize. Charlie, of course, on the faster tires, the mediums. So Chaz is going to be playing the long game. And that gap between P1 and 2, 1.2 seconds. So Charlie clearly has the pace on the medium tires to try and get the gap down from Daniel and apply pressure onto our race leader here. Let's see if we can find any small gaps here. James currently being chased down by Tony and currently chasing down the Aston Martin, who is currently in P7 as we head towards the braking zone of, I believe, turn 4, where the DRS detection point is as well, and Charlie isn't within a second of Daniel. So Daniel is safe for now on those soft tires, but how long for? James has DRS heading towards the chicane. Are they going to make a move towards the chicane? They're just gliding past past Sen. There we go. And there we go. Out of the chicane, but critically, Sen is now going to have DRS, as we've got a big DRS train, to get himself back ahead of James towards the hairpin. A lot easier to defend at the hairpin, though, and he's not close enough. Let's remind ourselves of this top 3, Daniel, Charlie, and Chaz, all separated by less than a second here, and Daniel really starting to feel the pressure. Those soft tires haven't worked as much as he'd wanted, and Charlie clearly has the pace to hang on to the back of Daniel. So they head around the final 2 corners. And Daniel is going to have an Alpine with DRS right behind him in a couple of corners' time as we head over the crest of this, I presume, artificial hill towards the braking zone. And we've got Toby, who's in the pits, gets a 5 second for speeding in the pit lane. That was our pole sitter for this race, down in 18th. Putting the mediums on and presumably a new front wing as well. But here we go, riding on board with Charlie, trying to chase the slipstream of Daniel, take him towards the outside, towards the chicane. Who's going to come out ahead? It's Daniel. They've got the inside line, but they don't have the DRS to defend from Charlie. Going down the isn't straight towards the hairpin. Surely Charlie's going to be able to get it done here to take the lead of the race. Then switch to the right, trying to go around the outside. But Daniel's braking. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? It looks like he's come out ahead, and they're both into the wall. Both into the wall immediately. Bye-bye, Charlie. And that is a safety car. Wow. Both of them exiting the corner. Maybe got hooked onto each other. A bit of contact. And both of them straight into the barriers exiting the hairpin. And that is a DNF for Charlie, where it could have been contention for the lead of this race. And let's have a look. Daniel managed to survive just about into fourth. Not sure if we can see their wing damage, but lots of people pitting. I'm just looking at the X3 chat in Discord. Charlie not happy at all with Daniel there. So our first safety car on lap 6 of 29. A couple of drivers opting to stay out, while most of the grid head into the pits and are going to catch up with the top 4 who haven't pitted and are currently behind the safety car. It was kind of hard to tell who was at fault there. Daniel on the inside just didn't turn his wheel enough, really. And straight into the side of Charlie. And they were both... Well, they both had their meeting with the wall there. Very surprised that that he didn't DNF Daniel there. I thought we were going to see a double DNF. 1-2 sitters just straight into the wall. But that's changed things up then. So a couple of early pit stops. Not bad, I guess, for Daniel. He was on the soft tyres. Brought himself onto the mediums. He's got a cheap pit stop there. And so... 4 people not pitting. Everyone else choosing to go for mediums or the hards. We've got 4 people on the hard tyres. Alexis, Cookie, and the 2 Aston Martins currently on the hard tyres, looking to go long in the rest of this race. And the person who was on pole today, Toby, currently 30 seconds behind the pack, in last place. So there was contact there in the first opening laps, and that has not gone well for them. In these first 6 laps, they're down in 17th place. 2 DNFs today so far. Charlie, of course, which we've just seen the reason why, and an AlphaTauri. Both Haas drivers, of course, just to remind you, do have a race ban, so that's why we've only got 19 drivers in today. Sorry, we've only got 1 driver with a ban. The other Haas driver currently sitting in P9. So once Toby catches up to the pack and we head into Sector 3, we'll probably see the safety car come in either this lap or the next lap, which would be lap 8 of 29. So these front runners, this top 3, are they haven't pitted and they're on the hard tyres, so they're going to get a pretty poor start compared to all of the drivers behind them, especially the 3 drivers behind them, who are on the mediums, Mr. Bean, Spartans, and Daniel Jack, who was in first, had that incident, pitted for mediums, but that's probably going to bring himself up into at least 3rd once he gets past the people who haven't pitted yet. The 2 Mercedes and Hey Tony in the Alpine. So there we go. Safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap, and Chaz is going to slow down the pack, get his tyres warm, and try to get a jump on these older hard tyres on the rest of the pack, who have 5 laps faster tyres and a faster compound. 5 laps fresher tyres, should I say. So we've got 13 laps of racing to go, as the safety car is rounding the few final corners now. You can see on the minimap in the bottom right of the screen. And then it's going to be racing again as the track goes green. So safety car heading into the pits now. And Chaz can choose to open the taps whenever he wants. No overtaking, of course, before the timing line. And he's off. Out of the final corner. We are green once again here at Yas Marinas. It's the two Mercedes who are leading the race so far. But how long can they maintain this lead with pretty much everyone else? Well, the top three haven't pitted, so pretty much everyone else on the fresher tyres. And you can see, Hey Tony, already under pressure here from Mr. Bean, who tries to go round the outside of turn 4. And it looks like he's made that stick just exponentially more grip and made himself up into P3. And there we go. Tony dropping places. Even more Spartans on the fresher, faster tyres into the chicane. Gets ahead, brings himself up into P4. And Hey Tony just trying to hold on with Daniel Jack, our previous race leader, right behind him as we head into the hairpin. We're probably going to see another overtake here as Daniel switches to the outside. Tony tries to defend. Are we going to see a switch back here? Exiting the hairpin. And yeah, look at that. Just more grip, able to drive down the inside. But Tony isn't done yet. And I say that, and now he is. He was lingering on the inside, but just didn't have enough grip to stick with him wheel to wheel. So Mr. Bean, wheel to wheel there, with James currently sitting in second, squeezes him on the inside. And across the line, who's going to be in front? It's going to be James so far, but Mr. Bean using that ERS into turn 1. Outbreaks James, goes deep, has more grip, gets a poor exit, and that has led Spartans to get ahead of James as well. So it's all kicking off today. All kicking off right now on this safety car restart. Daniel trying to make up a few places on James as well. And Chaz, who hasn't pitted, is still holding out that lead, but not for much longer. Mr. Bean with a 0.5 second gap, and that is going to close down quickly as we head towards the chicane. But let's see, Spartans currently attacking Daniel, our previous race leader, into the chicane. Brakes a bit earlier, a little bit of a lockup. And that is going to cause him to get a poor exit out of this chicane. And our top three separated by 0.8 seconds, which includes Daniel Jack in the Williams, chasing down that lead that he ever so wants to regain. Chaz struggling on these 8-lap-old tyres to keep the drivers on the faster, fresher tyres closer than he can. And that looked like a little bit of contact there as Daniel almost drove into the back of Mr. Beam as they are about to start lap 10 in 2 corners. Chaz under real pressure. Is Mr. Bean going to try go down the inside? Daniel has a little look down the inside in the final corner. But let's have a look as we ride on board with DRS enabled. Look how much defending Chaz is having to do. And oh, that was a very late braking there from Daniel, trying to just get ahead of Mr. Bean, but almost straight into the side of Chaz as Pinetic in the Red Bull gets a 3-second penalty. And Daniel, contact there with Chaz as he was looking to go round down the inside, and it's a safety car. So that's why we didn't see him overtake. That's a safety car. So let's see. Fresh. I believe they have damage. If I could just have a look. No, they don't have damage, but the car is see-through, so I'm not sure why. But it looked like it was Pinetic who caused that safety car there. So our top three. Chaz still holding down the lead and is probably going to pit this lap under the safety car. Put some new tyres on as he's going to lose less time and less positions. And Daniel Jack is going to regain that lead that he had at the beginning of this race from lap 1. And has done very well on that restart despite the contact and the lack of front wing. And Mr. Bean has made himself up into P3. So let's have a look at the positions gained and the positions lost. Mr. Bean up 6 places and Spartans up 7 places. Cookie has had a monster of a first half of this race. Up 10 places already in this race. Of course, they didn't have qualifying. So we're seeing 5 drivers pit so far, including our previous race leader, Chaz, who is going to be putting on, I'm going to presume, the mediums. Yes, they're on fresh mediums, and they're going to make those last till the end of the race. So our second safety car in X3 tonight. And once our final driver reaches the pack, which will be fresh, we'll see the safety car come in at the end of the lap. It's probably going to be lap 12, the next lap. Just one moment while I tab out. Apologies for that one, just had to answer something in the Discord. In the commentator's room, we call it. So, Daniel, on the medium tyres, in the lead so far, just behind the safety car. And our top 9 drivers all pitted during that first safety car. So they're not going to have too much pressure from the drivers behind them when it comes to tyre advantage and disadvantage. We've had about 5 people. 4 or 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people. No? Can I count? I can't. 5 people. 5 people have pitted for new tyres under this safety car, including Chaz, who was our previous race leader after the first safety car. So, fresh, just catching up towards the rest of the pack. They have gone invisible. So, I'm not sure if that means they've disconnected or what. But I don't think so. I think it does mean they've disconnected. And Hey Tony heads into the pits. Well, he's leaving the pits now to put on fresh medium. So, a bit of a late pit stop for them. But we should see the safety car come in this lap. We'll get the notice during Sector 3. So our top 3 are on the medium tyres. And the fastest lap so far is actually Daniel, with a 1:25.5. RP2 in Mr. Bean. His best lap is a 1:26.3. So clearly some more pace there with Daniel today. So we're going down the isn't straight towards Sector 3, and hopefully we're going to see the safety car come in this lap so we can have a couple more laps of racing before this race is over. Of course, Abu Dhabi, there we go. We see a safety car in this lap. Abu Dhabi, very controversial with safety cars, so we might get one just before the race ends, and then, I don't know, maybe Fresh will win down in 15th. So, Daniel, backing up the pack. As you can see, all the drivers warming their tyres. And the safety car is going to go in to the pit lane, and then Daniel can really open the taps. Of course, no overtaking. As usual before the timing line. So he's going to want to get a good jump coming out of the final corner. And the key focus here, Mr. Bean, currently up about 6 or 7 positions since he started this race. Let's have a look. Up 7 positions since he started this race. Is going to be looking for this win as he's now chasing down Daniel. And we go green in Abu Dhabi for the second time after a safety car. Mr. Bean and Daniel on the same tyres with the same length of, well, with the same amount of laps on them. So it is all to play for, as that is a Haas that's very slow there. Cookie causing the yellow flag in Sector 1 as we head down into the first heavy braking zone. And Mr. Bean right on Daniel's rear wing as we head down the first main straight. And it's the two Aston Martins in 4th and 5th who are right behind each other. And Mr. Bean has the faster straight line speed and gets ahead just before the chicane. There's the lock up there from one of the Aston Martins. Mr. Bean is ahead. More straight line speed with that setup in the McLaren. And with a slipstream, it's kind of hard to beat, but that's a virtual safety car. Again, not even one lap after we've got a virtual safety car. We've got some contact between Toby, who has no front wing. And it's a virtual safety car, so hopefully that's not going to impede this lap. Oh, it's a full safety car. It's a disaster, this race, as Fresh gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. And it's a full safety car once again here. Are we going to get any racing? I might go and have a nap until this race is over, if it's just going to be safety cars. We've got Daniel pitting again. Quite a lot of people deciding to pit this time. Mr. Bean opting to stay out. And so in our third safety car, this time we're seeing a lot of people pit. About half the grid pitting. And most of them coming out onto, in fact, all of them coming out onto the medium tyres. And it's becoming a very familiar sight as this Aston Martin safety car this race. 14 laps, and about half of them have been under the safety car. So it's all about getting your strategies right, and it looks like most people have opted to pit for the mediums. From 9th to 15th, well, to 16th, people pitted for the medium tyres. Toby started on pole, still down in last. Clearly getting frustrated with himself, as he's caused yet another safety car with a lack of front wing and it being blasted all over the track. So once again, for the third time, once all the drivers regroup to the pack, we will see the safety car come in at the end of said lap. So Chaz, who opted to pit a bit later in the second safety car, is currently up in second and has 5 laps fresher tyres than Mr. Beam and 3 laps older tyres than everyone who just decided to pit. So, of course, those laps weren't fast laps either. So this could be very good for Chaz. He could get this win today, as his tyres, despite them having a couple of laps more than the people who have just pitted, they're not going to be used all that much. And this race win looking a bit more difficult for Daniel. While he has got the fresher tyres, he's got a lot more traffic to get ahead. If we get a 4th safety car, it'll be his race to win. But I'm hoping we don't. I'm hoping we just get some good old-fashioned racing here around this track for the final 14 or so laps of this race. So, we're going down the back straight behind the safety car. We're going to see the safety car hopefully come in this lap. Once it crosses Sector 3, we'll see. Only one driver with a penalty so far, and that is Fresh, currently sitting in 8th place with a 5-second. And there we go. Safety car in this lap. So, drivers, if you can hear me, please stop crashing into each other. I'd like some racing to commentate. On this mystery Grand Prix weekend. So now, for the first time this race, it is Mr. Bean's turn to hold up the pack. And when is he gonna get going to sprint off and away from the pack, try to get himself a good launch? It's now, as he rounds the second to last corner, towards the final braking zone of the lap. A bit of a wiggle there, poor exit. But now we are green for the third time in Abu Dhabi. And Chaz desperate to get that win as he's on the faster tyres than Mr. Bean. And we've only got 14 laps left. There we go then. Heading towards turn 4. Chaz all over the back of Mr. Bean. He's going to try to go down the inside of this very wide left-hand corner. And he's ahead going down the back straight. He's got the ERS. He's got all of the ERS he needs to defend. But Mr. Bean going to have that slipstream. A little tap of the ERS. Is he going to go down the inside of the chicane? No. Chaz brakes later and stays ahead just about. And that's a yellow flag there as Daniel Jack is down in last place. It's not good for him. It's been so poor for him. It was looking like a strong race for Daniel right from the beginning as he took the lead. But now he's down in last and quite a way away from our leader. 9 seconds, in fact, from our leader. So, Chaz currently on the faster tyres than Mr. Bean behind him. And currently out ahead by 1 second as we're about to head onto lap 16. Let's have a look at some other battles. JNR had a poor qualifying, up in 4th now, and is chasing down the McLaren and the Williams, who are going wheel to wheel into turn 1. He's got a great view of this. And that is Sky's Cap disqualified for blocking the pit lane. And Pool Diver got ahead of Mr. Bean while we were looking at that. So caution in sector 3. And it's JNR about to pass Mr. Bean on the hard tyres, on the fresher, slower tyres technically. And he's brought himself up into 3rd on that Red Bull, looking very, very strong. And Pool Diver chasing down Chaz now. So we've had 4 DNFs in this race. And JNR tried to go down the inside of Mr. Bean as they head down that isn't straight towards the hairpin. Mr. Bean got a little bit more straight line speed with that Mercedes. And gets ahead just before the hairpin. And JNR goes wide, and that's opened the door for Hey Tony to try sneak past, but JNR defending the inside line on these 90-degree corners. But he's just squeezed by Tony, who brings himself up into 4th. So it looks strong for JNR, but he wasn't able to hold on to those positions. We've got Cookie in the Haas, causing another yellow flag. And DRS is enabled. But that's not going to affect Chaz. Currently 1.1 seconds away from Pool Diver. But the real battle here is for that final step on the podium between Red Bull, Alpine, and McLaren. It's going to be a 3-way battle as we head towards the DRS detection point. Mr. Bean playing DRS chicken. Did you see that? Oh, and that's contact between... That's big contact there. Between a lot of people. Lots of position changes. It looked like that Hey Tony ran into the back of Mr. Bean. And look at this. We're going 4-5 wide down the main straight. What is going on? It's absolute chaos here tonight. Oh my god, I can't even tell what's going on. We've got cars that are transparent. EXA Rolly gets a 5-second penalty somehow on the yellow flags. And that is ridiculous. Big DRS train. Many, many people heading towards the hairpin. I think we were 4 or 5 wide there down the back straight. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's a wiggle from the Ferrari of Nick. What is going on here tonight? Chaos in Abu Dhabi. Absolute chaos, and Chaz is just enjoying it at the front. I say that, though. Pool Diver has brought that gap down to 0.6 seconds and is now right on the back of Chaz, who is on the medium tyres. They both have the same amount of laps on their tyres, but Chaz is going to be faster for longer. And James pits for the soft tyres there, as you can see on the grid. But now the battle for the lead is about to get a lot more interesting, as Pool Diver is going to have DRS down this back straight, and then DRS down the back isn't straight, as he's gained about 0.2 down that straight into the chicane. Not as good of an exit as Chaz, but now towards the hairpin. What can he do? He's just made that gap even closer. And Rowley, another penalty for track limits, and that's a slide from Pool Diver. Almost cost him a position. I say that. These two are way out in front. Spartans, the two Alfa Romeos, in fact, 7 seconds away from our top two. And Mr. Bean chasing down both our Alfa Romeos, and I say that. He has a slide almost straight into the barriers. And he's pitting. Why is Mr. Bean going to be pitting? Maybe to put on some soft tyres and front wing fix, perhaps. But 0.5 seconds away, Pool Diver. He was a 10th faster in the previous lap. As we head round after the DRS detection point towards the DRS zone. Chaz just has so much straight line speed on that Mercedes, which is not something you hear in real life, as Mercedes are driving tractors in Formula 1 this year and have been for the past few years. But look at that, Pool Diver ever closer to the Williams. And is he going to make a move? He's got DRS and DRS enabled. Trying to go round the outside of Chaz. Is it going to stick? No, it did not. Both of these drivers 7 seconds away from the rest of the pack. Pack has really separated her because of those really strange incidents after the safety car restarts. Safety cars really screwed with a lot of this, lot of these strategies. We've got two people on the softs right now. Mr. Bean, who was leading the race at the safety car restart, is one of those people. But the battle for the lead is only 0.4 seconds away now. And this is the thing we're concentrating on. And actually, just looking at it, Spartans a little bit quicker than our top two as they're battling. Trying to get ahead. He was a 10th faster than Pool Diver and 0.3 faster than Chaz in that previous lap. And Pool Diver still can't make his way past Chaz, even with DRS. Chaz weaving all over the road, trying to break that slipstream, but he's very, very close here. Heading towards the chicane. James sets the fastest lap with a 1:25.552. Exiting the chicane. It's all about the exit here. Pool Diver gets a bit of wheel spin, but he's a lot closer to Chaz than previously, and he's going to be able to go side by side towards the hairpin. On the outside, gets ahead with DRS just before. Outbreaks Chaz, and that is Pool Diver into the lead. His teammate Daniel wasn't able to hold off the lead, but now Pool Diver has secured it so far for the team with just over 8 laps of racing to go. This is actually the closest fight on the grid right now for the lead. But the fight isn't done yet. Chaz, 0.3 seconds away from Pool Diver, has the slipstream, and is going to have DRS in about a quarter of a lap's time. Goes very wide there. That's going to be a track limits warning for Chaz. And he doesn't have much ERS compared to Pool Diver, has about 11% less ERS than Pool Diver. Which means launching an attack not going to be as easy as you'd like. using a little bit of ERS to get a better launch out of turn 4. Or 5 it is, I don't know. James sets into the fastest lap. And Chaz thought about a move there on Pull Diver, but is thinking, I'm going to save this for this next DRS zone, which is literally 2 corners after. But he doesn't get a great exit compared to Pull Diver. And he's using all of that DRS, all of that rear wing, maximum efficiency drag reduction system. But not able to get ahead of Pull Diver, who is still in the lead on the hard tyres. 11 laps on them and 0.3 between Chaz. Let's have a look at Nick in the Ferrari, who's currently chasing down JNR, who we almost saw get himself on the podium, but is currently now sitting down in 5th. Not bad considering his qualifying performance, but he's looking a little bit slow on those hard tyres, and Nick alright on his tail. 0.2 seconds between them as they round the final corner. And we are going to have a quick look as they head into lap 23 to our leaders. Chaz chasing down Pull Diver as usual into the DRS detection zone. Let's see if he can get ahead. He's going down the inside. Very late move there. Lucky he didn't run into the side of Pull Diver and take him out, because that would have been a penalty. But he's a lot closer. He's got DRS. Is he going to go for the move? No, look at the telemetry. He's lifting. He's not gaining. He's saving it for the next DRS zone, which didn't work for him last time. Is it going to work for him this time? He's been struggling on the exit of that corner on those older medium tires, and it just allows Pull Diver to really get away. This DRS zone a little bit shorter and not into a as heavy braking zone, so you really need to get alongside to be able to make the move stick, and he hasn't managed to do that. Meanwhile, while we were watching, this battle's going on. JNR goes around the outside of Nick, goes a little bit deep, and Nick takes the inside line, and they're still wheel to wheel now. Come on, can we have a look? Thank you. JNR down the inside. Almost gets it done, goes deep. And Nick trying to do the switchback, hanging round the outside of the left-hand. A little bit of contact there as we head towards the second to last corner. Who's ahead? It looks like Nick is ahead, and Daniel right on the tail of both of them. JNR losing out. Daniel now battling with JNR as we head across the line to start lap 24 for these drivers. And Daniel has managed to profit from that battle between the Red Bull and the Ferrari, and has brought himself up one place into P6, and Nick can start to get away now just a little bit. But JNR isn't done yet. He's right on the tails of Daniel as we head towards the DRS detection point. And this is going to be a very interesting battle here for P5. We need to have a look, though, at the battle for P1. Can Chaz get a better exit? Those rear tyres not happy. And I don't know if he can do it. We've got to switch between battles here. That's contact between the three of them, really. Daniel into the back of Nick, and he goes off the track. Looks like he's overtaking off the track. Does he get a penalty for that? No, he doesn't. And Nick has lost out. But he's coming back in with the hairpin, with the DRS, and retakes the lead and keeps hold of 5th place. So this gap between P1 and P2, P1, P2, and then P3 has gone from 7 seconds at the safety car restart to 4 seconds. So these drivers at the back clearly have more pace than our top two. Yeah, they're lapping about 0.6 of a second faster in the previous lap. Spartans especially, who is taking lap after 10th after 10th in every sector. 0.2 faster than our race leader in the first sector. Let's see, Chaz even further back than Pull Diver here. But he's gaining a lot with that DRS. DRS so powerful. But if he can get a good exit out of this chicane, which he's been struggling to do since we've been watching, just doesn't have the rear grip for it to be able to get past Pull Diver. Maybe he's going to have to try and move into the chicane and force Pull Diver into a bad exit. ExA Rolly, by the way, joining this fight for P5 with a time penalty, yes. But he's going to have a look down the inside of Nick in the Ferrari and makes the move stick. Would you look at that from our from our league owner? So now Nick is under heavy pressure from Daniel once again as we head into the slower, narrower part of the track. That could have been track limits there for Daniel. He's got to be very careful. Otherwise, he is going to get a penalty. And by the way, in that previous lap, Chaz, 0.4 seconds slower than Pool Diver in first, as Daniel gives a little bit of a nudge to the wall just to remind him that he's there. And is chasing down Nick. So, I don't think Chaz, so Pool Diver has broken DRS now. Chaz not in contention for the lead anymore. The tyres just not doing him favours. In the later stage of this race, the hard tyres are doing Pool Diver a great favour here. And Nick, very close to Rolly, who does have, I believe it's an 8-second penalty, as he does lock up there. That's bye-bye tyre wear. Let's have a look at penalties. Yeah, Rolly with an 8 seconds, so that's going to bring him down quite a few places here. But maybe he just wants that track position. There's Nick getting a lot closer with DRS around the hairpin. And we've only got 3 laps of racing left. Bit of a slide there from Nick as he gets a bit trigger happy with the ERS and the accelerator. Another lockup as well. So maybe struggling with these tyres with 15 laps on them. And we're seeing Daniel put a bit of pressure on Nick once again. He's got 3 lap faster tyres. How much of an impact is that going to give? JNR gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. So that is bringing him out of contention for this P5 position. And it could be all Daniel's here. He would have wanted the win today, but some unfortunate events, many safety cars, and some errors has caused him to go down into P7. But he's going to have DRS to get the opportunity to get into P6 here in just a couple of 100 meters. And that's how fast a couple of 100 meters goes. Now he's got DRS, using the last of his ERS to try get ever closer to Nick in the Ferrari as we head towards the chicane, through the chicane, and out the chicane. And it actually turns out Nick has DRS on Rolly, which is causing Daniel not to gain as much as he wanted down these straights, making that DRS a lot less effective. And it's just keeping Nick in contention. Well, it's keeping Daniel out of contention. Daniel takes a very different line there compared to everyone else in this third sector. Sort of cuts across that corner. Very interesting. Not sure if it's faster, but the gap is down to 0.5, so maybe it is. And that's Rolly sliding into the wall out of the final corner. Is that a safety car? There was some rear wing, some front wing gone, but we've only got 2 laps left. So I doubt the game is going to give us a full safety car, maybe a virtual at most, but it doesn't look like it. And Nick had a slide, and that's put Daniel literally on his rear wing contact, and he had to lift. The grip of the tyres is going, and now it's all about driver instinct. What can they feel through their wheels or controller? How much grip do they think they've got in this game? And now Nick doesn't have DRS to defend from Daniel, and Daniel is gaining, going to the inside towards the chicane. What a terrible angle to see what's going on. It looks like he's ahead. Show us a different angle. Yeah, he's ahead coming out of the chicane. But now Nick has DRS to attack right back, going round the outside towards the hairpin. Gets ahead, braking, and back up into 5th there. So Pool Diver, let's have a look. Pool Diver currently 1.7 seconds ahead of Chaz in the Mercedes. And he's starting the final lap of this race. And he is going to be our winner here in Abu Dhabi, unless something spectacular happens on this final lap. This is going to be the first race that I have commentated this season where it's not decided, where the race isn't decided on the final lap, it looks like. As Chaz just couldn't keep up with Pool Diver's pace on the medium tyres. Well, with the medium tyres, should I say. Well, this fight for P5 isn't over, though. This is what we're really looking at. This is what's important right now. That's a yellow flag as Rolly retires from the session. Tough race for him today at Yas Marina. But Daniel, he's only got half a lap to get this move done to bring himself up into P5. He's going to go down the inside towards the chicane. He's ahead. He's ahead just about. Lock up there from Nick. And he whacks Daniel. And Daniel is ahead. But Nick going to have DRS to get him back. Daniel's going to have to do some great defending here to even be able to stick in this position. And Nick, once again, like we saw last lap, he is ahead. And that is probably going to be P5 for Nick. But let's see. Our race leader rounds the final corner. It's the Williams. It's Pool Diver 46. Wins the race. Wins the Mystery Grand Prix here at ExA Racing. The Abu Dhabi Mystery Grand Prix goes to Pool Diver. With Chaz in second. Very good race from both of these drivers. Finishing, finishing very far ahead. And Spartans up 8th place. 8 places from where he originally started. Makes up the podium by his teammate in the other Alfa Romeo, Toby. Had a very tough start after starting on pole. Dropped down to last for the longest time. Brought himself up into 4th. So not a bad recovery. Nick in the Ferrari is in 5th. And then Daniel, who was looking like he was going to win this race, finishes in 6th. JNR in the Red Bull in 7th. Hey Tony in 8th. Mr. Bean 9th. James in 10th. Sen in 11th. Cookies in 12th. And Fresh in 14th. So we only had about 13 drivers who actually finished this race. Very eventful race. Lots and lots and lots of DNFs. And driver of the day goes to Hey Tony. So congratulations to our winner, Pool Diver, and congratulations to our podium finishers. So as we look on the podium here, congratulations to all 3 drivers here who finished on the podium in a very, very difficult race. Lots of safety cars and lots of contact. So there we go then. Pool Diver wins round 4 of Season 6 here at ExA. We will be back tomorrow, and I will be back tomorrow for the big race. X1 on a Wednesday, every Wednesday. It's the X1 race. And it's Singapore, I believe. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please do join our Discord if you have not yet. We've got divisions for every kind of driver, from the slow ones like myself to esport level professionals. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed today's race, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.